As in when you talk about the training period of Qatar Airways, the first thing that I found very strange was that there was a cafeteria in the training center, and we all used to have our breaks, so you can have your food and lunch there, even if you don't want to buy food from there. But you will sit. It's like a cafeteria. You sit there, but the only thing was that if you're a trainee batch, like you have not started flying, you have to make sure until and unless there are boys, any gentlemen inside the cafeteria, you girls from the trainee batch will not enter the cafeteria. The boys from the other trainee batch or any, in general, there should be no interaction whatsoever between the boys and girls of trainee batches. Hi everyone, my name is Twinkle and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, if you're watching me for the first time, then do consider subscribing to my channel. I was flying for over 10 years with Indian as well as international airlines like Qatar Airways, and now I make content around aviation which helps you achieve your cabin crew dream. So also, if you're not following me on my Instagram, I will be leaving the handle here as well as in the description box. So in this video, I'm going to tell you what happens once you get selected and you land into Doha. Yes, I'm going to talk about Qatar Airways training. Once you get selected and you start your new role, your life-changing experience, the first thing that you're gonna experience there for 2 months is your Qatar Airways training. Since the last statements of the CEO said that they'll be recruiting, of course, they laid off an experienced crew first, but I'm pretty sure that the days are not far that there would be a good news of hiring freshers again. So I just thought of making this video to get you more excited and also give you like a real picture, an insight into the real picture of the 2 months of intensive and life-changing experience of Qatar Airways training. So if you are interested, please keep watching. So let's start from the real beginning. As soon as you land into Doha, the airport itself, everything is sorted for you. You don't have to be worried about anything, from picking you up to assisting you to get your luggage, to get you transport, and also, everything related to a pickup drop is already very sorted. It's very, very arranged. There's no mess at all. There is a staff from the welfare or the housing department to pick you up. They will take you to your accommodations, everything regarding to where you're going to stay, with whom you're going to stay, your room numbers, your keys, everything with a welcome letter, welcome bonus, a kit of knickknacks and snacks and stuff like that. With a welcome letter, obviously what you're going to do in the next 2 days and what your batch is going to be, when are you going to start and visit the tower. Everything is literally done for you. So as soon as you land, you wait for some of your batchmates. Most of the time it's your batchmates is going to join you in your same batch. You're going to come together and beat whatever time you land, early morning or late night, evening, morning, whatever. They assist you, they get you in your accommodation, they explain you everything, they basically give you a check, and then you're all set. Also, they will tell you that this welfare department and the housing department, if anything related to housing you have a problem with, you can call them 24/7. Also, this welfare department, be it the smallest of the thing, or if you have any problems with anything, basically you can call welfare. They are at your service, at your assistance, literally 24/7. This department is by the crew, for the crew, all the time, so you can do that. Coming on to the training part, mostly you will have a day or two before you, a day or two off. You might have it. Some people said that they landed and the next day itself they had to go for training. So that can also be the case, but mostly 1 or 2 days. When I was there, I got 2 days, which is really good. So you get enough time to settle down. And if you have to buy something, purchase something, like if your little things like some clothing or some food is missing, you can buy it. So you have some time with it. You have it, and you give in a schedule whenever your bus is or your transport is going to come and pick you up for your day 1 at Qatar Airways Tower 1. So what happens on day 1? So day 1 is your induction day. Yes, on this day, all of you all will be gathered, and managers and staff from different departments like rostering, housing, managers, other staff, standards and procedures, you name it, and all of them would come and talk to you, tell you guys about their departments, about the rules and regulations of the company, how different departments work and what you need to do. Basically everything. These 2 days will be to tell you, to brief you about the company. These are very, very extensive sessions, and you should pay a lot of attention to what they are saying. Also, this is the time when your documentation will be done regarding your alliance, your bank accounts will be opened, your insurance will be done, and if any documents were missing from your application, you will be asked. And this is the time when you submit your reference letters or your experience letters. This is the time when your files are actually made from day one, and everything starts getting accumulated, and they start preparing your personal files till the time you're in the company. And even after you resign, until 4 years, they keep your files. Also, you don't need to worry about the schedules and what is going to happen over the next 2 months. They're going to brief you about everything, all your schedules, who you're going to be with, and also you're going to get divided into 2 batches. I'm going to come on how you get into batches and how many people are there, what nationalities are there in a while. Before that, they also start something very important, which is the medicals. Yes, your medicals also start from day 1 too. Like once your induction is done, they will brief you that you would start your medicals with the company as well as for the government, to start your ID cards, basically for your resident permit, your visa and everything. They need to do a few of these things, and on clearing only you get like proper confirmation. So the second medicals, one part of medicals is done by you in your own country, and second medicals is at this point of time. So don't worry, a bus comes in, a whole bus. There's no cars like we have in India. A whole bus will come and get like 20 people. Most probably your batch will be stuck together, like they'll be sticking together. So you will go to the government hospital, and whatever things are required, like your tests, blood tests, your x-rays, all of that will be done. An extensive list of tests is given, your eye checkups, your ear checkups, every little thing is done by the company as well as the government tests. All of that will be done, dusted at this point of time. Also, if you want a separate video on what all tests are done, I can actually make a separate video on what all tests are done. I can also affix a form, like if I do still have the form of the tests you're required to do. This will also include your psychometric tests and all the little details that you need to talk to them on. So your scar check, once you come back, they confirm and they write it in a proper format, and they have it in their records. So this is the time every little thing will be done before you actually get into your grooming, your service, and your safety trainings, the training, the real part of your training. So let's come on to the batches now. So you will be divided into a batch of 18 to 20 people. My batch in particular had 20 people. Just for your information, boys and girls are not trained together. Initially, when you're ab initio batch, when you start and you get your first training, that is called the ab initio training. That training will be done separately. Like the boys batch is different and the girls batch are different, and they are very, very strict about you both not interacting in the building or in the cafeteria also. So you will be separately briefed that no interaction with the boys will be done. Well, the motive behind is that they don't want you to get distracted, and there should be a proper discipline. They don't want you to flunk and fail. And it also first has a lot of training costs involved. They don't want you to keep repeating the training again and again. They want you to pass also with good flying, good marks, with flying colors basically. So this is their idea behind it. I don't find it that bad, but yeah, when you're into the thing, you might find it a little different. So yeah, so my batch had around 20 people, and I had around 13 nationalities. So I will try to put a picture here. If you see, I had 13 nationalities. 4 of us were Indians, 1 Thai, 3 Sri Lankans, 2 Serbians, 2 Ukrainians, 1 Filipina, 1 Macedonian, 1 Kenyan, 1 Egyptian, 2 South African, 1 Portuguese, and 1 Zimbabwean girl. And only 3 of them were experienced, and 1 of them were married with 1 kid. So this is how diverse and how amazing of a batch it was that I was going to treat as a family for, believe me, for all your life in Qatar Airways and even after that. So this is the kind of diversity you will see from day one. Your training with cultures, your life-changing experience of learning, your cultural intelligence will start from day one. Your learning will begin from day one. So this is the diverse culture that you're going to see. You're going to learn about different nationalities, their culture, their behaviors, everything. And trust me, it is the best feeling. I have been trained in an Indian environment also, and trust me, it is really, really different. You will not find any politics or groupism at all. In fact, you will be like supporting your each other, your batchmates so much. You'll be missing this after your training gets over and you start flying, because you become such a close family. You will see the moment you come, you all are so new, you guys have no idea, and then you actually you help each other grow, you build each other, because now you're together in this. And we were so lucky that not all the batches, but my batch and I guess maybe one or two batch were so lucky that we were put into a very new building. So the whole of our batch was studying together, and they were also staying together in the same building. So I was actually staying with my batchmates like in an apartment and also in the same building. So our batch was all in the same building, and it was one of the best things that I later realized that this is not standard for everyone. So we were quite lucky in this thing as well. I'm gonna also fix a picture of how they celebrated my birthday, because my birthday was during the training time and the trainers were amazing. Of course, they were from the different nationalities. My initial safety trainer was an Indian, and my service trainer was British. So yeah, I was so lucky to have such nice batchmates. All of them are nice basically, and I was also, as you can see, that they were celebrating my birthday. Yes, it was in the apartment itself, because I'm going to tell you there are a few set of rules and regulations that you need to follow, which are really strict when you're in training, because they want you to 100% focus on your training and nothing else. So yes, I feel that it's kind of okay. I didn't have any problems with it, because all you would do is study the whole day. The training is not that difficult, but it's not that easy. You cannot take it for granted, for sure. That is why they want you to have all your focus. They don't want you to go out and party, discover the country, until and unless you clear your training, because all of these things act as a distraction for sure. So yeah, they will have rules like you cannot go after 10, you cannot go out after 10, and this thing also sort of modified. When we were there, it was the curfew time was 11, but it changed to 10 p.m. So you cannot go out after 10 p.m. And you have to be like, you have to follow minimum rest also. Basically, don't go out anywhere and apart from going to grocery or do your laundry. So let's come on to what are the subjects and what are the timings of the training. So when you start your training, you will only have one day, Friday, which is off. Usually Fridays, Saturdays are the weekends in Middle East, and Thursday is considered to be like a Saturday in India. So for the trainee crew, for trainee batches, only Friday is off. And initially it was only one batch. Like we used to have 8 hours of training, and we used to have our trainings around 10, or we will continue it till 5, 6, 7, things like that. It was quite flexible, but recently the batches have been a lot. We've got a lot of training crew. We really needed a lot of employees were being hired, and the training batches had drastically increased. So there were 2 training batches simultaneously going on. Like they were what I mean is that now the slots were divided into 2. The day was divided into 2. So the first batch would start as early as 6 in the morning and go until like 2 o'clock. 1:30 would get over, or 2 o'clock, something like that. There would be a half an hour break, and then the second batch would be like 2 until 10, 8, 10, something like that. So all the trainings were changed to this pattern. So any recurrence or initial trainings or any other trainings like customer experience, supplementary trainings, refreshers would be done following this pattern only, because now the crew were more and we were falling short of the building. The tower one was actually falling short of space. So because of that, they also constructed another tower altogether for trainings, and they had segregated different trainings. This was all good to know. Coming on to the subjects, the first day would be your grooming training. That will be around for 2 days only. You will have the best time looking at a wide range of products, and you'll be studying about what are the regulations, what are the standards, what is the uniform like, what kind of makeup you're supposed to do. You learn about hygiene, basic standards, uniform maintenance, all of that you will be made to learn about that. Also, very important point, don't think that they will teach you A to Z basics of makeup. No, that did not happen in Qatar at all. Whatever makeup I knew was from my previous airlines. So if you don't know makeup at all, you are going to have a hard time. So it's better that you carry a basic kit of yours, and you learn basic makeup for sure, because there nobody's going to teach you. So you'll see a wide difference of people who can do very good makeup and some people were very, very simple. Nevertheless, they will have like 5 basic things that you're supposed to do on all flights, mandatory. If you do less, that is not acceptable, but if you do more, that is fine. So these things are definitely be there. They take grooming as the first part because they want you to follow this 100% for the entire training. So you also get a hang of how to get ready until you get released after 2 months. So the next training is your service training, which is going to be around 14 days. In this 14 days, you're also going to have to learn about situations, food and beverage, terminology, customers, handling, company rules, service procedures, standards, equipments. All of these are going to happen with a good amount of practical sessions and exams and vivas. Of course, you are going to be a part of simulators as well. Now, by simulators, I mean that there is a proper mock-up which is made in a form of an actual airplane. So you get the actual feel of how is it to be in an airplane. You have seats, some of you will become customers, some of you will become servers, flight attendants, you will enact role plays, you will enact situations. It is really good. You learn a lot. This is the time you can still have a little bit of fun. But when it comes to the next part, which is the safety, this is going to be 100% no joke game, very serious training, and can be a little difficult also, because in this part you're going to learn about emergency procedures, safety operating procedures, your safety equipments, procedures, how to use them, standards, aircraft manuals, and you familiarize yourself with the aircraft. So there's going to be aircraft visits, and this training is going to last for 3 weeks, including your exams, your practical drills, and all your mock-ups and simulations, everything, which can be difficult, which can be tiring, because this is something very, very new. I can say that it was easier for me because I had the similar kind of training which was quite strenuous in Kingfisher also, so it wasn't that big of a deal for me. But for new people, especially from different nationalities who were not so well versed with English, they had a hard time and they were struggling to clear the training. So I'm not giving you any impression that it's difficult, but it's certainly not easy also. You're supposed to secure somewhere around 80 to 90%, somewhere it's over 80%, somewhere some subjects you need to score over 90% of your marks in your subjects, failing which you might have to repeat the training. Also, which is limited to 1 or 2 chances, not that they will wait for you forever to give you chances over and over. So it's better that you clear it in one go, because if you take a second or third try, that gets into your file and that might give you problems later to get promoted also. So you don't want to do that as well. Second thing that starts after the next training, which starts after your safety training. Now the order of these trainings might differ because it also depends upon the availability of the trainers and the doctors who are going to take your training. By doctors, now let's come on to the first aid training. First aid training is going to be there for 5 days to a week, and you're going to learn about CPR, you're going to learn about AEDs, your medicines, your PO bottles, your oxygen, your AEDs, all those equipments on board that's going to help you take care of passengers in case they're not feeling well. And trust me, after you complete this training, you're going to really feel proud about yourself. This training is life-changing. You're going to learn how to do your bandages and all of the practical knowledge that not only can you use here, but also after you finish, with the flying or just your training in general. That is really useful. So yes, apart from that, you're going to have slide draft trainings, your drills. Some other trainings would be your dangerous goods trainings, your fire training. your ditching drills, your CRM and One World trainings, which also is going to include interaction with pilots, different departments. This is a photograph of CRM trainings that I'm going to show here. And yes, last but not the least, you're also going to have a ditching drill. Now, what does ditching drill means? Because we don't have our own mock-up, our own setup for ditching drill, where you're going to actually jump into the water and show them that you're not scared of water, and then you can climb a raft like this. This happens in Dubai, and later it started happening in Bahrain because of the cost. So you will actually take one day. They will take you early morning to Bahrain or Dubai, whatever it is, and you will go do the training, perform your drills, pass that training, and then come back to Doha all in one day and complete your ditching training. This is how it looks like. So yes, once you complete all of that and you pass all your exams 100%, you're all set to become a cabin crew. You are all okay to go for your wings day, which is your graduation day. Something which also happens side by side are your uniform fittings. The moment you start coming close to your graduation day, your uniform, your other things which are like your suitcases, your trolley bags, your little bags, your purses, all of that things gets starts coming to you. You start collecting them, your documents that you're going to carry, your folders, little things that you're going to prepare also start happening at this moment. Also, to reiterate once again, everything that you do in your training, from your marks to your behavior, every little thing is recorded in your personal files. You're also given feedbacks by your trainers individually at every finish of every training. Whatever you do is in constant supervision of the company, so you have to make sure that you 100% follow all the rules, which are not a lot. Things like you have to follow your grooming 100%, even if you're missing your pins, and your you are checked on grooming every day. Just for your knowledge, if I forgot to tell you, you are checked on grooming every day, even in your training, so you get a hang of it. Once you start flying, you know that you're abiding by the company standards 100%. So once you follow your you have to follow your grooming 100%. You make sure that you're not late for your training at all, because that also gets recorded. You might have to talk to your managers, and you will be told that, you know, this is you might even get a warning letter or a caution or advice letter for doing such things. Make sure that you do not keep sleeping, and you know, just do not attend the training. You get late, curfews to follow, their minimum rest to follow, and the biggest thing is that you are not supposed to use your phones. Yes, not even in the bus. You're not supposed to listen to music. All these things needs to be followed 100%. And once you get done with your beautiful training for 2 months, here comes your graduation day. Yes, there's a wings day which you will have. You can see a photograph here. You will have a CEO speech where you will be congratulated. You will be told a little bit about your familiarization flights, the 2 flights that you're going to do before you actually start flying solo individually. You will be told about that, your experience. If you have any doubts or questions about flying in general, you can ask here directly to the CEO. Yes, you get an opportunity here, which is great. And then you will have cake cutting, and they will be giving you the wings to fly. You'll have your name badges basically, and that will be the end of your great experience, your great training, your life-changing experience in Qatar Airways. Yes, this, you actually, you know, you made me go through all my memories that I made in my training time, looking at those pictures while I was trying to compile this video for you. So that's the end of this video. I hope it was not really long, but I'm sure it was as detailed as I could have made this video for you. I hope you found this video helpful and you liked this video. If you do, do not forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends. If you would like to see any other topics, put it down in the comment section below, and I will see you in my next video. Till then, take care and bye bye.